Hello and welcome back to the channel for some more Prime Cutz, where we find the less advertised sections of Amazon Prime Video's library. This time around we've got some more British science fiction, but it's very different to what we looked at last time with Quatermass. It is 1981's Inseminoid. I think that's how I would say it. Written by Nick and Gloria mainly and directed by Norman J. Warren. We've got the cast here. Stephanie Beacham is by far the most famous name in the production. Now I'm using this here because I'm no doubt going to forget a lot of the characters' names as we go. Because unfortunately one of the things the film does suffer from is that a lot of the characters are kind of quite interchangeable, quite bland, so you don't really remember them. It closely, as a whole film, resembles Alien as a whole film. But unlike Alien, they don't manage to make the crew distinct. If you remember back to Alien, like every single member of that crew had a distinct character that you could latch onto, so you would remember who was who. It's also quite a large cast, which doesn't help things. Anyway, we pick up the story with a scientific mission on an alien planet, where they have found some kind of alien ruins and some strange crystals. It's never really got into that fully, what site is all about, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, this strange pulsating wall explodes! And it doesn't go well for that poor chap. We do get sort of parts of the film where they have some really cool camera work going on, like this shot here, but I don't know whether it's to do with the fact that it was quite a small budget production. They kind of get bored of doing that and phase out of it. Anyway, the guy who was caught in the explosion has these crystals clasped in their hand, so they go to investigate what those are. Meanwhile, they have a play in the sand pit to discover the body of the other crew member who was caught in the explosion. Stephanie Beacham's character appears to be some kind of reporter or chronicler of the mission. And I love this image. Just the wide-eyed stare is brilliant on this poor dead man. So we cut to everyone discussing what should happen next. Should they continue with their mission or should they pack up and go home? Meanwhile, the guy who was caught with the rocks goes to bed, feeling unwell. Spots of alien there. We have a short scene to establish the relationship between those two characters before we cut to this poor chap feeling unwell, tossing and turning in bed as the strange crystal pulsates in another room. And he's awake and going mad, or is taken over by alien consciousness or something. It's never really firmly established what is going on with that, but he starts running around causing all kinds of havoc as people try to chase him down and get control of him. It's not entirely clear what he's trying to do, but he seems to be trying to sabotage the base in various ways. He runs into Gail, who gets her foot caught and then dies horribly, freezing to death while everybody else watches. It's not really clear why she couldn't get her foot out or why nobody else could go and help her. But eventually, Stephanie Beacham's Kate shoots Ricky, it is, I believe, and they bury the dead out, and we have this nice kind of monochrome use of colour. It's a shame they don't do more of that outside, but you know, it keeps the budget down, with most of the film being done in Chislehurst Caves in Kent. Fact fans. We cut to alien point of view. One thing that doesn't work in the film's favour is it's never established before this alien appears that there's any kind of alien threat outside. So it just comes out of nowhere when this thing attacks. Poor Sandy is knocked out, and well, yeah, look at the design of that alien head there. This was designed by people who thought Geiger had been overly subtle with the Xenomorph's design. Poor Sally having been knocked out there and shockingly impregnated, that we find out. It has to be said that Judy Geeson as Sandy does some amazing eye acting. She puts so much through her eyes multiple times during the film. I love it. Cue slight comedy moment as nobody notices her running around on the security screens. But at this point, we know that there's something a bit off with her. We know that she's been impregnated by an alien. But it's this point that she goes completely crazy and starts attacking people, and it doesn't go well for the people that she attacks. Holly finds Sally and a chase begins. The first of many chases throughout the film. The character of Sally after she's been infected actually is really quite interesting, because she kind of seems to dip in and out of the alien control or the psychosis. So at times she seems lucid and in pain at what's happening to her and distressed. At other points she's just mercilessly hunting down the rest of the crew in the base. It's a really kind of interesting dynamic that they've got going on for her. Anyway, everybody shelters in the control room until they realise that they've managed to leave Stephanie Beacham's character out by herself listening to her podcast or something. So a couple of the guys go out to fetch her back to the safety of the main control room. Meanwhile, Sally is on the loose, lurking in the corridors. And look at that eye action, it's brilliant. But as she's attacking Stephanie Beacham's character, she gets intercepted, runs off, but we find out that she seems to have a level of strength way beyond what is normal for her. So everybody debates what's to be done, but explosions start going off as Sally has started placing explosives around the place. 3 of the crew decide to go out and try and subdue Sally, and they're going to do it with the aid of a weapon or a piece of equipment that they're going to use. They find her in distress, but then it doesn't go well when they try to subdue her and inject her with some sedatives. And we're down at least 2 more crew members. The script writers say that they had completed the script months before Alien came out, but I think it's certainly undeniable that you can see Alien influence in the production of the script at the very least. I love this sequence where Sally is trying to coax out Mark, who is her boyfriend, and again it's going back to this idea of part she's lucid, part she's in pain, and yeah, the actress is just superb in this role, I think. So as we move towards the final third of the film, we get obviously lots more chases through the caves. And it's all pretty well staged. Pace is kept up nice and high. There's some nice back of frame shots like this with Sally lurking around. But on this one, she's intercepted, and having lost her prey for a bit, she's separated, and he's managed to get into one of the space suits, but that conflict does not go well for him. Some more fantastic eye acting. I love it, just brilliant. And we're down to the last few. Meanwhile, Sally gives birth to some horrid little alien little creatures, and they can hear her screaming over the intercom whilst that happens. Then we get into the final chase and action sequences as everything in the base is slowly but steadily gone downhill, with things exploding and air running out and all that kind of thing. The monster alien babies are found, and they're hoping that these can be used to lure Sally into a trap effectively. Of course, it doesn't go well for anybody. Mark does manage to kill Sally and seems to have survived events, and he comes back to find that the babies have managed to kill everybody else. And shock, twist, final shot. Well, it's not your final shot because we get a similar final shot after a short sequence of a recovery crew arriving to find everybody dead. Anyway, that is Inseminoid. It's obviously playing around with various body horror aspects around pregnancy and motherhood and that kind of thing. There's quite a lot of writing out there about the film, actually, which is quite interesting in the way it approaches some of these subjects. At its heart, it is a fairly schlocky science fiction horror, but it's quite an enjoyable one. It's not on Aliens level, definitely. There are some weaknesses in the script. Like I say, the characters are quite bland and interchangeable. There's not any kind of clarity around where the alien has come from, or why, or what it might be, or what that mission was trying to achieve. But it certainly has some impressive sequences and creative sections. I think if I had to sum it up, it feels pretty much like what you would get if you crossed Alien with Doctor Who. This is pretty much the result. So if you've not seen it before, it probably is, I would say, worth a watch, this one. Anyway, join me again soon for some more Prime Cutz as we explore the weirder parts of Amazon Prime's library. And we'll speak again soon.